Welcome to the Joya Life Podcast, episode number 7, where I'm joined today by Michael Watson, who's been an accountant for 60 years, and despite the fact that he could have retired based on either age or health reasons, hasn't. And even though in November of last year he was given a cancer diagnosis where he may be in the last year of his life, he chooses to carry on working. Imagine loving your job that much. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on our Joya podcast. You've got a fascinating story, and I want to dive deep into your story, but understand that a lot of our viewers and listeners are in a slightly different age bracket to you and I. So if you imagine there's a bit of a gap between us, and then there's a bit of a gap towards the audience's slightly bigger gap, actually, going the other way. And so I might take you back to the beginning at some point. But I just want to highlight, or just want to ask you about, the main thing I'm interested in is you love your job so much that you're past retirement age, number one, and still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you've had a nasty diagnosis, haven't you?
Yes.
And you're still doing it.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about the nasty diagnosis?
Sure. Thanks for having me. What happened was I've had a series of near-death experiences in my life, 10 in total.
Only 10?
Only 10.
Not 9 lives, you're not a cat?
No, not a cat. I've outlived that.
Wow. Go on.
As for example, 2 years ago, my blood was playing around a bit. My hematologist asked me to have some tests done.
Yeah.
And so I had various scans. I went to work and the radiologist rang me up and said, "You've got to get to hospital straight away." And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "Well, we noticed you got a dissection or a tear in your ascending aorta. You'll bleed out in great pain. It'll happen quite quickly." So I finished off the work that I was doing and I went home and got changes of underwear because I thought this will be a stay in hospital. Got my medication because they always say, why didn't you bring your medication with you? And I went to hospital and they said, "Are you in pain?" I said, "No, I don't have pain at all." So you should be in great pain. It's because it tears the aorta and then you bleed out in your body cavity. And there was a professor there, Tristan Yan, and he said, "I'm an aorta specialist, one of the best in Australia. Want to be my patient?" I said, "Sure." So then he found out I was one of only 5 people who's ever had experienced no pain.
Right.
I was one of only 2 people where the tear was an old tear. So for whatever reason, it didn't continue to go with the blood flow and worsen. So he said this could have been a day, 2 days, a week. Sometime you suffered this injury and for whatever reason it stopped. So I went through all the alternatives. First of all, if you improved my blood flow and my arteries weren't any good, I would die anyway.
Yeah.
So I had to get an angiogram done urgently to see that everything was okay. Then he said, "I'll go in and I'll wrap it." I said, "Well, sounds interesting. What do you wrap?"
Put a Band-Aid on it.
That's right.
Elastoplast.
Basically. So well, that's interesting. So he said to me, "I've got to get my team here." He said, "I'm at RPA, but I'm at Macquarie Hospital and the Sydney Adventist Hospital where I had it done." And he rang me and said, "Can you come into hospital 3 o'clock tomorrow?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
He said, "I've got my team of 17 people ready." I said, "What do you mean 17 people?" He said, "It's a big operation. It's 3.5 hours." And so I went in to have the operation. He explained to me that I probably had a 10% chance of surviving. But
Sorry, a 10% surviving the percent chance of surviving the operation?
yeah, but if I didn't do the operation, I would definitely die. And then in the operation, if it proved to be too stressful, there was probably a reasonable chance I'd have a stroke during the operation.
That sounds delightful. You said, "Sign me up." Yeah.
I said, "Sure, go for it." So I went in. I didn't appreciate what it looked like. I went into the biggest operating room of the 15 they've got at the SAN,
Yeah.
and there was people everywhere.
Yeah, right.
He said, "I'm the main surgeon, here's the assistant surgeon, here's the head nurse, here's 2 assistants, here's the anaesthetist that does the heart-lung machine, because we can't have blood going when we're operating on your heart. So pack you in ice, drop your temperature down to 20, everything becomes inert. I've got 22 minutes to operate before the organs start to get damaged. I have to reheat you. and we go through that process till it's finished.
Oh, wow.
So I woke up and there was a nurse holding my hand, and I said, "This is very good service." And she said, "Just to make sure you're okay." And I said, "I'm okay." She said, "It was an 11-hour operation." And I said, "What happened?" She said, "Your aorta had it completely. So he rebuilt your aortic arch. He put in a 32 centimetre thing called frozen elephant trunk, which is only the shape of it, with clamps and things. 32 centimetres, fairly significant. Then he said the aortic valve had gone, so he replaced that with a calves valve. Then I started having a stroke, so he put stents in my right carotid artery and my right shoulder to improve the blood flow."
Yeah.
And it went on for 11 hours.
Wow, 11 hours.
He said to me when he saw me, "You're a very lucky man." In fact, every time he sees me, he says, "You're a very lucky man."
Yeah,
I
wow.
said, "Yeah, I get that a lot." And he said, "My team thought that your chances went down to about 1%. And I thought, I'll keep on going and just see how it goes." So that's what happened. So having survived all these different things, I thought all the problems I've had with my heart would be the one that took me out.
Yeah.
And then my PSA was playing around a bit. So my
PSA?
That's the measure of how your prostate is operating.
Okay, yeah.
So I went to see my doctor. He sent me for a scan, said you've got a growth there. They did biopsies. This is another professor, Henry Wu, and he said it's cancerous. You'll need treatment.
Yeah.
So this isn't like an enlarged prostate. You need to get this out. Then when they did the PET scan, they found out the cancer was right through the prostate. So I was going to get radiation, but when you get radiation, you've got to take a hormone suppressant to get rid of all your testosterone.
Yeah.
And that can cause osteoporosis, and I already have that in my spine and my right femur.
Right.
Just the start of it. So I said, that's out of the question. You break bones. So then Henry Wu said, "You've had too many problems with your heart. You're a bleeder. I can't do this operation. I make my money out of operating. I'm telling you, I don't want to operate."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, what happens?" He said, "Somewhere between 1 and 10 years, but probably 2 to 5 years, the cancer will spread into your pelvis or your hip. Then you'll have bone cancer. Last year of your life will be very unpleasant."
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah.
So that's where you're at right now. But then there's another treatment for this one, isn't there?
Yeah. So then a guy said to me, "You should speak to this guy, Professor Philip Stricker at St. Vincent's."
Yeah.
He did mine, he's leading bloke. So I went over and said, "This is the reason I can't have anything done." He said, "I've got something new. I'm doing a thing called Tulsa Pro. Tulsa Pro is non-invasive. So I've done it in Canada and America. It's been done overseas. The great advantages of it are we don't sever the urethra, which every time that happens, 70% of men after it have some degree of incontinence, up to major problems."
Yeah.
And he said, "So we go through the penis and we burn out the prostate. So we're not actually making an incision, and we have to do it in an MRI machine. So we're looking at thousands of images all the time."
Yeah.
He said, "That's very hard for the anaesthetist then, because an MRI machine is incredibly close to you."
Yes.
And he said it's very hard for him to check the anaesthetic and do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He said, "However, it's a 3.5-hour operation, then you can go home."
Right.
I said, "Oh, just like that." And he said, "Just like
And this
that."
is the one you got scheduled for
It
June.
was the 6th of March.
Oh, and then
And then St. Vincent's had an argument with the insurers about the insurable risk.
right.
It's the first of its kind in Australia. It's approved, but it hasn't got a Medicare number yet. So it's
Right.
very, very expensive. They couldn't agree. Then they scheduled it to the 25th of June.
Yeah.
Then St. Vincent's is having an argument with neighbours in a court battle. So they said, "We don't want anything else on our plate at the moment." My professor was very upset because he raised $1 million for them to evaluate this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he's speaking with the head of Catholic Health to see whether they'll do the operation in St. Vincent's private, which
Right.
would be even more expensive then.
Yes. Wow. But so that's an experimental procedure which is 3.5 hours that may well fix the problem.
Well, it'll definitely fix the problem.
It definitely will. So they've had success with this overseas.
3,000 operations.
Oh wow! I said it's not it's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's the first time in Australia.
Yeah, so the problem is also that unless surgeons embrace new technology, they make their living out of doing what they do already.
Yes.
So why would they bother learning something new?
Yes.
They already make a living.
Yes.
And
Okay.
most of them are doing 2 or 3 operations a week
Yeah.
on prostate cancer. So everybody makes a living. Why do you want to adopt something new?
Yeah.
This thing called Tulsa Pro, Philip Stricker's brought 4 different techniques to Australia
Yeah.
to improve different surgical techniques.
Yeah.
So we live in a time where health procedures are evolving all the time.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
new things coming out. I've been told I had a spontaneous bleed at one stage where my blood thinners were breaking down the arteries in my body. I had to have an Amplatzer device put in my heart
Yeah.
to stop clotting. That was really an experimental procedure at that stage.
Give it a go. Why not? Some people, when they die, they donate their body to medical science. But you're trying to do it while you're still going, aren't you?
Indeed, indeed.
And so tell me, but most people in those situations. So when was the first thing when you had the heart, your artery problems?
2005.
2005. And at 2005, what age would you have been then? That's 21 years ago. So you'd have been
56.
56, just a fraction younger than me. I've just turned 58. At 56 years old, you could have just gone, I've had a life-changing experience, I'm gonna call it quits, but you've gone, oh, I love what I do, I'm gonna keep going.
That's right. I had a guy many years ago address a business group I was in,
Yeah,
and he said, we'll do a hypothetical. The water you're all drinking on the table that came from an experimental lab got confused in the
yeah,
machine coming over here. So you're all going to die in a year's time.
yeah,
You won't suffer, you won't deteriorate, but in a year's time you'll just drop dead.
yeah,
Nothing anyone can do about it. How would you spend the last year of your life?
yeah, really.
One of the guys, Murray, said, I'll go to Rio and Carnival and
Yeah, yeah.
I'll do this
Travel the
and
world, do all that kind of stuff.
parachute and I'll buy a Harley and I'll go on a hot air balloon and I'll skydive and I'll climb Everest and I'll do whatever. And he said, oh, this is fantastic. And he said, when are you dying? And Murray said, well, I have no idea when I'm dying.
Yeah,
He said, oh, so you could be in the last year of your life.
and yeah,
So are you doing these things?
yeah, yeah.
And he just went pale.
Yeah.
Next meeting we had, a guy had gone back to skin diving, 2 people had gone in hot air balloons, guy had bought a Harley Davidson, one guy parachuted.
Brilliant.
All these things where people said, you think later on in life I'll get around to doing whatever.
Honestly, my mantra, I grew up working with my dad. My dad was a milkman. You know, when milk used to get delivered door to door? Well, I went out with my dad as a milkman, and we'd spend a lot of time just chatting away in the car. And he always used to talk about, when I retire, I'm going to travel the world, I'm going to go on a cruise and do whatever. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to wait until I get that old. I want to travel young. And so I made it my mission to travel young. And then when I was about 24, he had his first heart attack. Heart attacks, his family all die of heart attacks. His parents both died in their 60s of heart attacks. His brother had a heart attack, quadruple bypass. He's had a heart attack, quadruple bypass. And then you don't know how long you've got after that. Now, thankfully, he did live for another 20 years, but I was convinced I could be dead by the time I'm 50.
Indeed.
So what can I do this year so that this is an amazing year? And so that if this is the year I die, I go, that was a good year. I had a good year this year. And I've been doing that pretty much ever since. And it's the whole Joya Life thing that we're doing at the moment. That's one of the things that I'm trying to get people to grapple with and grasp, is that life is short, and you need to, on the one hand, live like this could be your last year, and on the other hand, make plans in case it's not. So that the year after and the year after and the year after can also be good years. And that's it's a financial challenge, as well as it is a challenge in the way things go. But one of the things is doing a job you love. And so going back now to you when was the diagnosis, the cancer diagnosis? November. So again, and you're deep into your 70s now. 77. Again, how do you want to spend? And your answer to that question back then, what was your answer?
I thought about it a lot, And I thought, you never know how long you're going to be on this planet.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed the things that I do. I've always
Yeah.
set goals. My birthday is the 1st of January.
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
went to a Zig Ziglar sales pitch in 1970 when he visited Australia.
Wow.
There was probably 500 people jammed into a room for 300.
Yeah.
The next day he did a presentation on goal setting from Harvard University,
Yeah.
and about 70 people went.
Yeah. Oh,
He
really?
was talking about them being measured,
Yeah.
shared, in writing, all the
Yeah.
rest. So the 1st of January, which is my birthday, I sit down and write my goals for the year.
Brilliant.
Being a living feast that you can modify it,
Of course.
you can add or take things out of it.
Yeah.
But also you've got to have the little achievable goals,
Yes.
so that you give yourself a little reward. Yes, I did that.
Yeah.
You can't just have these huge goals because they become wishes or wants rather than
Yes.
actual goals. You're not driven towards achieving them. You just hope you're going to achieve them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the other adage are prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and it was interesting that in the business group I was in, there was 3 very committed Christians,
Yeah.
of which I'm one. And so you assume that this is a temporary life. You're not going to live forever.
Yeah.
You're always ready in
Yeah.
case it happens. Not that you're relishing it happening.
Yeah. Do what you can to avoid it, but
That's right. But you do your best, you just get on with things. A number of critical things happened in my life, and friends of mine said to me, I don't know why you haven't topped yourself. Why do you keep on going? It's because I'm curious to see how it turns out.
I don't know what the ending is yet.
That's right.
I'm reading the book. I could be in the last few pages. I don't really know. I couldn't know many pages there are left.
That's right. So when I joined BX and upgraded primarily to get to the book writing one. So I'm writing 3 books at the moment.
You're writing 3 books at the moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as I get little snippets of wisdom or inspiration, I put them down.
Oh, that's
Start to sort
lovely.
them out.
But why 3? What's the difference?
Well, one's on the history of the family
Okay.
from
Yeah.
my 8 great-grandparents,
Right.
which I had my most famous ancestor was William Maney. He ran away to sea from Jersey,
Yeah.
and then got shipwrecked off the coast of China and lived there the rest of his life.
Oh, really?
Became a general in the Chinese army, published a newspaper, did all sorts of things.
Wow.
Section of the Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew named after him.
Yeah.
He has a jasmine named after him. He
Wow.
investigated the province of what's now northern Vietnam,
Yeah.
and published a book called Tung King.
Yeah.
The Empress gave him a medallion that he could travel anywhere with her protection, so he explored everywhere in China and Mongolia.
Brilliant.
So there's that history of the family down to me, then there's all about me,
Yeah.
then there's my descendants. So I've said to my children and their partners and nieces and nephews and different people I know, I just ask you this question: what are the 5 things that have worried you the most in the world? It can be personally,
Yeah.
in your state, in your country,
Yeah.
overseas, whatever. And people say things that I didn't expect. One of my daughters said Y2K, and I said, what? And she said, I remember how scared I was about that. I
Yeah.
thought when the millennium came,
Yeah. Yeah.
planes were going to fall out of the sky and
Because
nothing would work.
this is so old now, but for those that don't know, Y2K was all the computer systems were set up on a 2-digit date system, and therefore we were going from 98 to 99, but then go from 99 we were going to 00, and they didn't know if that was going to mess up all the computer systems because 00 is actually before 99, and so suddenly they had to make all the computer systems 4-digit years. Because it never occurred to them when they were setting things up in the 60s and 70s that they would have to account for this. But yeah, I remember watching the fireworks in New Zealand actually to see, and I wasn't watching the fireworks, I was watching the buildings to see if the lights would go out.
Yeah.
And when they didn't, it was like, oh, okay, well they're fine. We should be all right.
There was the rest of the world watching Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah,
Also.
yeah.
England and America at that
But
stage.
yeah, so Y2K was what your
One of my daughters said that was
Wow.
a concern in her life, and I hadn't even thought about it. So people say things. I asked my grandfather before he died, my mother's father, you were born in 1888. You saw the Commonwealth of Australia happen. You saw the advent of radio, television, flight, cars, everything. He met my grandmother. She was playing the violin accompaniment to the piano on a silent movie. He was an usher part-time.
Oh, really?
And he and I sat and watched the first man set foot on the moon.
Yeah.
And he said, it's almost too much to absorb in a lifetime.
Right.
I said, all the things you saw, 2 world wars, the Great Depression, everything. What was the most outstanding singular thing in your life? He said, the electrification of New South Wales.
Really?
So, what are you talking about? He said, we got power in Sydney and then it rolled out. So
really?
Next week, Tamworth and Forbes will turn on the lights. Next week, Dubbo and Mudgee will turn on the lights. And although we didn't have appliances and PowerPoints, we just knew what a difference it would make.
Yeah.
Instead of candles and kerosene lamps and whatever, to be able to flick a switch and turn the lights on.
Wow.
So he said that was the biggest change in life of all the things.
Wow.
I said, you saw a man set foot on the moon. That was
your biggest thing.
It was at that stage.
Yeah.
You know, that was his biggest impact in his life.
Well, then I'll ask you the same question. What's the biggest thing in your life?
Biggest thing in my life has been family. I didn't know whether I'd get married. I hoped I would. We had 4 children. I've got 11 grandchildren.
Yeah, brilliant.
That's the great thing of my life.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I'm one of 9 kids. Family's really super important to me as well. How did you meet your wife?
I walked into chartered accountancy 60 years ago on the 7th of December.
7th of December, sorry, 60 years ago. So this is this 20, sorry, not 20,
1965.
1965. Yeah, okay.
When I was little, I lived in Singapore and Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Because my father had been a major in the Indian Army, or English Army in India, because he could speak Mandarin and a number of Asian languages. He was a spy for Australia, and we went over there while they interviewed people who wanted to migrate to Australia.
Yeah.
And he'd hear what the real conversation was that was going on, not what was passed on in English.
Oh, right, yeah.
For quislings, collaborators, people like that, who wanted to get out of their own country.
Yeah.
So we went over there and I went to preschool because that was common in Singapore and Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And when I came back to Australia, I started school and we didn't have preschools in Australia. So I went to class. The teacher said I wasn't paying attention. I said, I know all this. I know how to read and write.
Been there, done that.
I know how to do numbers. So they pushed me up 1 year and then 3 months later pushed me up another year.
Right.
So I was the last of the leaving certificate, which was 11 years, not 12 years.
Yeah.
So I finished school when I was 16.
Right.
I walked into a chartered accountancy job.
Yeah.
7th of December is Pearl Harbor, so I remember the date,
Right.
very vividly. And I started off my chartered accountancy career. I met a guy called Stephen Proud.
Yeah.
We worked together. Then I left chartered accountancy and I was already in those days it was called a society accountant, a CPA.
Yeah.
So I relied on that until I worked for a firm where I had to be a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
So I went back at 25 to do another degree. I had my uni degree when I was 19.
You uni degree when you were 19?
Yeah.
So that's brilliant.
25 I became a chartered accountant and we celebrated by having a function at Stephen's parents' place.
Yeah.
And I met his sister and that's who I married.
So
Proud out of Watson and Proud was Stephen Proud.
Yeah, right, okay.
And I was his best man, godfather to his daughter, and we were in
That's
business
amazing.
together for about 11 or 12 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But not obviously in business.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
Went off and did some other things.
Yeah, right, wow. So you met your wife, is it a colleague's sister? Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. And how long between meeting her and marrying her?
I met her in July 1976.
Yep.
I went overseas in 1977 in March.
Yeah.
We'd gone from very romantic to very friendly.
Yeah.
And I came back after 6 weeks. I went to a charity convention in Monte Carlo and got kissed by Sophia Loren. I went to London and had high tea with Olivia de Havilland, the actress.
Wow.
Number of different things that 10 seconds of fame sort of
Yeah, why not?
Came back and I said, I saw your brother in London. I saw our great friend Chris Breckenhoy in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Can I come and talk to you about it? And she said, no. And I said, well, what does that mean? What, I've only been gone 6 weeks. Did you get married or engaged? She said, yes. And I said, well, how did that happen? She said, I met a guy and I got engaged to her. So I went over and saw her parents and showed photographs and talked about their son in London. I thought, when I was in London, a cousin of my father said we come from part of our family in Cornwall, warlocks and witches and all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah.
We have a white witch in our village, and she's going to come to London and I'll get her to have a session with you.
Yeah.
So I had this very interesting time with this lady, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
She said, I'll tell you things about your past, I'll tell you things about the present, I'll tell you things about the future. If I only told you the future, there's no credibility, but I'll tell you things about the past. There's a spirit on the other side, it's your grandmother. She was also born on the 1st of January like me.
Yeah.
And her grandmother was too.
Really?
And she said she's always been closest to you and she's sort of your guardian angel. She's the voice in your head.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's going to tell you a few different things. When I was little, I nearly drowned several times.
Yeah.
And I was a terrible asthmatic.
Yeah.
And often my grandmother and I would be the only two people at home.
Yeah.
And we'd talk for hours about all sorts of things. And she was very musical. That was a great thing for me.
Yeah.
And so one day she said to me, if you could do anything, what would you like to do? I said, I'd like to jump up and down in your deep spring lounge that you were barely allowed to sit on, let alone do anything.
Yeah.
So I jumped on it and I got a terrible asthma attack. And in those days, there was no ventilator or anything. You either got better or you died.
Wow.
So she said, you got to promise you don't tell your mother about this. So I never told my mother about it. I never told anyone about it. And she was telling me this story.
Oh, really? This is the White Witch was telling you about something that only your grandmother knew?
And me.
Right. Wow.
So no one else knew about it. Then she told me various things and she said, I know your most pressing issue at the moment is you'd like to know if you're going to get married. And yes, you are going to get married and you already know your wife and you're going to have 4 children.
Right.
And I said, and what will be the secret sign to me? My grandmother's name was Edith.
Yeah.
But because she didn't have a middle name, my grandfather always called her Edith Mary.
Yeah.
And my wife's mother's name was Edith Mary.
Yeah.
And when I showed up that time at the door, I said, hi, Mrs. Brown. And she said, I think you're old enough to call me Edith Mary now. And I thought, the secret sign.
There we go.
So I thought, well, she's engaged to someone else. This is a bit of a
it's
hiccup in the road of life.
Yes.
We'll have to overcome that, which we did.
So she, and how, go on, so how long did that take? So you came back from overseas, you've been overseas for 6 weeks?
July 77.
Yeah.
By Christmas 77, she finished her engagement.
Yeah.
And then we dated seriously during 78.
Yeah.
We were married on the 2nd of December 78.
Oh, 78. So that's almost 2 years since you met.
Yeah.
Was it when you met in 70? Year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. You met in 76 or 77? I think it makes 70.
Yeah, 70s. Well, 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. Okay. Yeah, so 2.5 years from, and then how long before you had children?
My son was born on Christmas Day of 1979.
So that's what, 2 years.
30 months later.
30 months later. Yeah, nice. Yeah. And then on you went. So 79.
So I said to her, with my warped sense of humour, I went, which I don't know whether you use these things or not. So I said, as soon as my son was born, he was going to be called Carl Christopher. My middle name is Carl.
Yeah.
And he was born, and I said, he looks like Christopher.
Yeah.
And then I thought, Christopher on Christmas Day, that's really something.
Yeah.
My wife's name is Virginia Mary.
Yeah.
Very, almost biblical.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it makes sense because the conception was immaculate.
Yeah. So
then we had in the next.
So he was Christopher, was he?
Yeah.
But he's born Christmas Day. Yeah. Wow. My dad was Christmas Day.
In the next 4 years, we had 3 daughters.
Just in sequential years. Yeah. Wow. And then they went right. I was told I was only to have 4 by the White Witch, so I was only having 4, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, nice. And so you've now got 11 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And looping back around now, so you've always been an accountant, haven't you?
Yeah.
But you've done different companies, different things. When did you start working for yourself?
I I convinced someone to start a Parramatta practice in 1974
Yeah.
on the promise that if I built it, I'd become a partner,
Yeah.
which happened. And then the two partners, as they got elderly, sold me the practice, and then they sold me their city practice as well.
Oh, right. Wow.
And there was no point keeping a city office going because there was one firm of solicitors in the city.
Yeah.
Everyone else was out of the city.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and it became more common to go to the clients rather than the clients come to you.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd say 25% of my clients would come to my office reasonably frequently,
Yeah.
25% every now and again,
Yeah.
50% in 52 years of this practice would never have walked through the front door. They have no idea what my office is like.
Yeah, right.
That went back to the early days because I'd say to clients, I want to go to your premises to understand your culture, your business,
Yeah.
meet
yeah.
some of your key people, etc.
Yeah.
That's how I can advise you. I can't advise you.
Sorry.
I can't advise you long distance. So I think the breakdown of the relationships at modern accountants where they say you can do anything remotely, you don't get a feel for your client. What motivates them? Where are they trying to be? So
Yeah.
if I meet people, I say to them, I'll give you 1 hour for free. It might be the most important hour of your life. First of all, tell me about you.
Yep.
Say 15 minutes. Tell me about your business.
Yeah.
Now tell me these things. If you could change anything about your business at all, what would you change?
Yeah.
What are the main things that you would change?
Yeah.
Second question is, if I gave you $1 million tomorrow that you could only spend on your business,
Yeah.
what would you do with it?
Yeah.
And some people can tell you immediately. They just go, no.
Yeah. And
So with the exception of the $1 million, they've already got their plans.
Yeah.
They know where they want to be. And the last question I say is, I give people a lot of advice personally as well as business. Sometimes I feel more like a parish priest than an accountant. So share with me the one thing in your life that keeps you awake at night, that your conscious is in your subconscious and wakes you up, that you think, I've got to do something about that. And tell me what you're doing, and I'll play devil's advocate and I'll tell you.
So sorry, so there's so we've got the three questions. So
yeah,
the third question I love. So what's keeping you up at night? And what are some of the answers that you got back to that question?
I have the same thing in BX, the business networking group I belong to, where I've had people who've said to me, after the next BX meeting, could I buy you a cup of coffee? Could you stay for half an hour? And so a young man was talking to me about his business, about what his plans were for doing it. The half an hour became an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I said to him, so what's really the issue? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've heard everything you've said.
Yeah.
That's not really the issue. I sense that there's something far more important.
Yeah.
And he said, well, there's one thing. And I said, hey, what's that? He said, my wife wants to have a second child and I don't. And it's causing some friction between us. I don't think it makes sense from an economic point of view.
Yeah.
I think we're gone through the baby stage, which was horrific, the no sleep and all the rest, and now we've got nearly a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And so, what's wrong? My stomach hurts, I'm hungry, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Not like a baby who can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not sure that I want to go through that again. And economically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That one child would be better. My wife is desperate to have a second child.
Yeah.
Biological clock is ticking, she's getting older, and it's causing some friction between us. So that's not, you can't get a win-win situation with that.
No, it's very difficult.
Someone wins and someone loses, or they make up their mind. The reason I'm in a relationship is the other person is more important than I am.
Yeah.
To me, I marry that person because that person is more important in my life. Not me up here and them down there.
Yeah.
So if that person is going to make her happy, have the second child.
Yeah. What did they end up doing? Did he have the second child?
Try.
Lovely. Well, at least if you try and you don't succeed, well then you can't say that we didn't have a go. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Yeah, fascinating.
And I think the same thing. What I said to him was, I have 4 children. One of the things that I've thought about at different stages in my life, what would the 5th one have been like?
Yeah, interesting.
Because I know it. After 2, we had a discussion. My wife came from 5.
Yeah.
I came from a family of 2 only, my brother and I.
Yeah.
And she said, I want to have a bigger family. And then I think about my 3rd daughter and my 4th daughter.
Yeah.
They both had birthdays over Easter.
Yeah.
And I think about them both and I think, how lousy the world would be if they hadn't been born in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's interesting because I had 2 children. I mean, I had kids much younger than you, so I was 23, 24 when I had my first 2. But then we were 2 and done, and then we got the surprise third, and we call him surprise third. But it was very difficult. It was very difficult because it wasn't something that we had planned for, but it was kind of meant to be. And so, you just have to kind of get on with life. But yeah, again, it would be disappointing to think that life was never there. The really fascinating thing, I have a lot of conversations about this with people, because not too dissimilar to what you do is I when I talk to people about their home loans, I say, okay, short, medium, and long term. Tell me what the family looks like. Is it just you? Have you got a partner? Are you having kids? How many kids are you gonna have? And then how old are the kids at different stages?
Mm-hmm.
What sort of home do you want to be living in? Where is it? What's it physically like? And then what about investments if you want to get ahead? And then what about your career? And then other, we always talk about travel, holidays, and other big stuff like buying cars and stuff. And so I have these conversations, but often the most difficult one is about, are we going to have kids or not? And there's a growing number of people. I think it's something like 1 in 6 now. Women are saying no. And the average number of children now, the births per female is now dropped to I think 1.4 in Australia, and it's only 1 in a lot of countries in the world at the moment.
In fact, in the highest countries, it's only 1.9. So we're not even replacing ourselves.
The developed countries. Yeah.
So 8 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
If the birth rate in a number of countries is 1, and there's countries like Japan that is the case, then their populations will halve in a number of generations.
Yeah, well, that's China had the one-child policy, and now they said, you can have more the children, and people are like, well, we've had a whole generation of we only have 1 child. You put everything into that 1 child, and that's it. And so they've got an average birth rate of 1, and so the Chinese population we expect to plummet. At the end of the day, for individuals, it's like, well, that's not my problem. But I think it's a little bit sad, growing up as going through. I grew up in a family with 9 kids, so there was kids everywhere. I was changing nappies when I was 7. I was a father at 23. I wanted to be a young dad, and now to see people kind of going, I'm not sure that we're going to have any. I've got my son's partner is not keen, although she's from the Netherlands now, moving back, and I'm hopeful that they might, because he would quite like to have children. I don't know whether
it's one of the great joys of your life.
It is one of the great joys of your life, but when you don't have them, all you can see is how inconvenient and expensive they are. Because they're inconvenient and expensive, because you're going to spend a bunch of money on them, and they are going to change your life. But at the same time, it's a chosen inconvenience, isn't it? It's one of those things that you go, well, yeah, but this is what life is about. You've faced death. You've literally stared it in the face and been in a position where you want. The children are there. Your children are going to carry on. They will remember you. Your children are your legacy. Everything else that we do in life is gone. And I don't know if you know this, heard the saying, but they say that when we die twice. The first time is when our body leaves the earth. The second time is the last time someone mentions our name, which I absolutely love. And so it's our children and grandchildren. And interestingly, you mentioned about your great-grandparents. Most people can't name more than 3 of their great-grandparents, and we have 8. So that tells us that in 2 generations we're forgotten. But if you don't have children, you could be forgotten much faster.
There's the memories you have of them as well. Because I had 2 daughters with birthdays this weekend. Turned 41 and 43, 2 youngest ones. We had a thing at my ex-wife's place. And the immediate family is 21 people. So we show up there, and 2 of the youngest ones were born on the 29th of May, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Same hospital, same gynecologist,
Yeah.
1 hour apart to 2 different daughters.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So, but then they're like cousins that are like
Very close.
very close. Yeah.
So because my children, there's only 5 years between them,
Yeah.
their children, my son got married young and his children have grown up,
Yeah.
but the others are from 11 down to 5.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them. So Tui came up and she said to me, Papa Michael. I said, yes, darling, Papa Michael. So excited she couldn't get out beyond
Yeah.
my name. She said, I started big school this year. And I said, oh, good, that's really good. And she said, I've got 3.5 new friends. That's wonderful, darling.
It's 3.5.
Hardly wait for the birthday party to see if the half of them.
So,
And then one of the other ones came up is Margot, and she's also 5.
yeah.
She started a big school and she said, when I grow up, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to buy a Lamborghini and just drive you around. I said, it's lovely, darling. It's really good. Yeah.
They're awful to get in and out of, by the way, but anyway.
But it was the whole idea of the things that they share with you
Yeah.
are so amazing.
Yeah.
And they bring so much joy from very simple little things.
They bring back the wonder in life, because when you start life, everything is like amazing and wonderful, and there's a risk that as you get older you get a bit more sort of jaded and used to things and nothing surprises you as much anymore. But then when you hear a child talking about the world with that wonder, that sense of like anything's possible, and my gosh goodness, this just happened and it was the most amazing thing, and it's just, I think it's a brilliant reminder that we were like that once, and it's a great feeling.
It's one of the things that I say if I see little kids, and I'll say to them, I get something particularly heavy, and I say, who can lift that? They all put their hand up. Say, okay, lift it. They all grunt and groan.
Yeah.
They try to roll it. They try to do anything. They're not convinced they can't do it.
Yeah, no, that's
They're
right.
just convinced there's some little hiccup that they should be able to lift
Yeah.
it. If I went to a group of 18-year-olds and said, could you lift that? They would put their hand up.
Yeah.
So how do we get the negativity implanted into us, where the emphasis is on failure, not on succeeding, and not on trying?
Again, trying until you succeed. If at first you don't succeed, try again. It's interesting because that's, in schools are very much about it's either right or wrong.
Yep.
You got it wrong, don't get it wrong. Get it right next time. When in fact life is much more about, well, we're going to give it a go and it's going to go this way. This whole experiment we're doing with Joya Life is an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work out. I wanted to use it as a vehicle to help people learn from other people. And goal setting is one of the biggest things that we try and encourage people to do, because from my own experience, when you were doing your birthday goal setting, do you do it on your birthday or just before?
On my birthday.
On your birthday, lovely. So we were doing ours just before, and it was a process that was new for my, I was married for a lot of years, but have another partner now, and it was new for her when we looked at it last year, and then this year it was like, we're going to now revisit what we said last year. Sorry, excuse me.
Right.
Revisit what we said last year, and then look and make some more for this year. And some of them are very, like you said, very small. Like one of my goals is no chips. I always struggle with my weight, and my biggest downfall is that chips, whether it be hot chips or packets of potato chips. And so far this year, I'm chipless.
Excellent.
But then there's other big goals which are to do with the business, to do with our travel, to do with other stuff that some of the goals are kind of big and audacious, and you have to kind of put a lot of effort and time and thought into thinking about where you want to be and how you want to get there. And some of them are just little things that you can just, like you say, tick off. But the other thing that I love is looking at different life areas, and that's what Joy is about. Looking at, and you mentioned that you met your wife, you had 4 kids, but she's now an ex-wife.
Yeah.
So how long were you married for?
25 years.
25 years. That's a pretty good run. And then it was an amicable divorce, or it was a.
She just said to me one day, I just don't want to be married anymore. And I said, well, 2 things. If there's someone else, that's a whole issue. If there's no one else, then why don't we concentrate on the things that combine rather than the things that divide?
Yeah.
We're perceived as having a happy marriage.
Yeah.
What is it? She said, I'm wealthy, I would wake up in the morning and do exactly what I want to do. I said, but you do that. I go off to work and work like a 12-hour day.
Yeah.
And you're at home. I have no idea what you do. I have no control over that.
Yeah.
What is limiting you? And just getting rid of me, you still have 4 children.
Yeah.
So what are you planning on getting rid of them as well? Is that the news that
Yeah.
I get the kids and I walk off into the sunset? And so she's never repartnered.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Nearly 24 years.
Wow. You have?
No,
You haven't repartnered either? Yeah, interesting.
one great love. This should have listened to the White Witch.
You should listen to the White Witch.
That was it.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I mean I left a marriage of 33 or 32 years when I left, but I was the one going when I was going to work. My wife was, again, she hadn't worked for 11 years because we were in a position she didn't need to, but she resented my going to work and kind of almost gave me a hard time every time I came home from work. And I found that was, again, for me, I chose to leave, to give myself the opportunity to meet somebody else. There wasn't anyone else, but I wanted the opportunity to meet someone else that I could, share my later years with.
Indeed. What you look for in different stages of your life, whether you're 21, 31, 41, whatever, is different.
Well, we've been together since I was 21.
Yeah.
And so at 56, I think it was. I mean, there'd been a couple of years where I sort of said, I think this isn't working, I need to go. But then.
But at this stage in life, you want to marry your best friend. You just want someone
Yeah.
you'd like to be around.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas when you marry young, career, sport, whatever, takes you one direction.
Yeah.
Every now and again, ships passing in the night, you
yeah,
actually get together. And someone said the other day, you used to get married when you were 14 or 15 in the Middle Ages.
yeah,
By 40, you were dead.
yeah, yeah,
Someone
that's right.
raided the village, pestilence, famine, whatever it happened to be. It was abnormal. And the marriage counsellor was saying, the problem in long-term marriages is sex becomes a chore.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we ought to do it.
Yeah,
No romance, no excitement, no nothing. Just,
yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah. Haven't done it for a few weeks, I suppose we should
yeah.
hop into bed.
Yeah,
And saying people lose the excitement of it because they fail to work at it.
yeah,
If you're in a business relationship, you don't take your clients for granted. You keep on working at the relationship.
yeah,
You want them to have you foremost in their mind,
yeah.
the go-to person, and they say, oh, good, we're running across Max again, isn't everything great?
Do you find with your clients that you have some clients that outgrow you?
Doesn't happen so far.
Hasn't happened so far. So that some of them have started sort of relatively small and gotten to be very, very big, and they still using you, or they bring someone in house in the end, or
I had a guy who was a lamb wholesaler
yeah,
when I started off in business. Met him on the first day, and when I started the Parramatta office,
yeah,
his grandson rang me this time last year
yeah,
and said, "I'm so and so." I said, "Yes." And he said, "We haven't met, but my father says that we don't make any decisions without speaking to you." And I said, "Oh yeah, what's your decision?" He said, "I like going up north and around Foster,
yeah,
and I'm thinking of buying a place up there which I can afford."
yeah,
I said, "Are you going to live there?" And he said, "No, just a weekender."
yeah,
I said, "You're going to run it as a B&B?" He said, "No, just when I go up there."
yeah,
I said, "But you work, so how often do you think you'll go up?"
yeah.
He said, "Well, probably 4 weeks a year, and some of the times they'll run away for a long weekend or whatever. It's a long way to go for a short
Yeah.
trip." I said, "So you got it sitting up there. Do you know if a place is empty for more than 6 months, the insurance can be negated? You've got to inform the insurance company.
Yeah,
They'll put a loading on it. Do you know the properties need maintenance? They deteriorate unless someone's there.
yeah,
You're going to get a kid in the area to mow the lawn, or clean
Yeah.
out the gutters, or whatever, water the plants.
yeah,
What are you planning on doing?" And I said, "So how much is this property?" He said, "About 1.3 million." So $1.3 million, if you have that capacity, you can put it into a property close by,
yeah,
like in your own backyard. You could accumulate that amount of money in the bank,
yeah,
5% interest rates, $65,000 a year.
yeah,
I said, so instead of just having to go to one place,
yeah,
you could say, I'm going to Paris on $65,000.
yeah,
I'm going to New York.
yeah.
I'm going to,
Or you go up to the same place in Foster and you get used to it and you rent the same place for a month every year.
That's right. Go up to sub and say, I'll pay $2,000 rent and rent the best place in town. It's cost me $8,000, not servicing 1.3 million. Plus rates, plus insurance.
Yeah, terrible financial decision.
Terrible. But he was absolutely convinced, and his father said, I can't talk to you, speak to Mike. So he rang me and he said, I decided not to proceed with that investment.
Oh, lovely.
Said,
good.
well,
yeah, good.
It's your choice, but I think it would have been a huge mistake.
Yeah, but I guess, and I guess coming back to, what is it about your job that you love? Is it when you say something and somebody listens? Is it what is it that kind of lights you up?
There's a number of things. A failing in my personality is I like to be thanked.
Okay.
When people do it with false modesty, I say, oh, that's okay, it's all right.
Yeah.
But I love to hear it, actually. It made a difference in their life.
Yeah.
I try to help out a lot of widows because it's the biblical thing to do.
Right.
And people say, look, I've got someone who's lost a husband.
Yeah.
She's in a complete mess financially. Could you ever talk to her?
Okay, interesting.
Usually it takes a fair bit of time to sort things out because the person's making hard decisions. You need to make them head decisions.
Yeah.
So at least they address what they're trying to achieve. And it's a lot of talking to, a lot of cups of tea and hand patting and just being there.
Yeah.
And I've had many of them that say, I'm not religious, but I think God put you across my path at the right time.
Yeah.
And I think, well, that's why I've got skills. In old biblical terms, a cubic meter of silver was called a talent. It was 60,000 times the smallest coin.
Yeah.
So it was something people just didn't think they'd ever think of or see.
Yeah.
So the English language came to adopt talent as a great gift given by God.
Yeah, right.
I saw a very old movie with James Mason.
Yeah.
Which dates me very long time ago.
Yeah.
It was God, and a wealthy guy went to heaven. He said, you're not coming into my kingdom. He said, I've had a good life. I've given money to the poor. He said, but I gave you all that wealth, and largely it was self-indulgent. You didn't use it for the benefit of others.
Yeah.
So I'm very good at what I do, and that talent I can use to change people's lives. So that's what I choose to do. And I delivered a eulogy for a client in November.
Yeah.
I'm power of attorney for a number of people.
Yeah.
I'm an executive of 2 estates. I made a speech to the bride and groom at a client's wedding.
Nice.
I'm the front man for a lawn cemetery development application in the Hills District.
Right.
The reason is that they think that I'm more articulate and more businesslike. So march you out as the front man.
Fair enough.
I've taken lots of clients into Asia.
Yeah.
I've owned interests in companies, and I still have an interest in a company in the Philippines which makes aluminium windows and doors for high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
We employ between 500 and 800 people, depending on project activity. I help the government employees health fund on joint ventures in Bangkok and in Indonesia. I've owned slices of aluminium and glass industries in Australia.
Yeah.
I have various interests in different businesses, where sometimes I'll say to someone, I think you've got a really good idea. I'll do all your accounting and advice. Give me 5% of your business.
Yeah, interesting.
So some of those things work very well.
Yeah.
I had that with a company that cut foam for lounges and mattresses and car covers, car seats and everything. And that turned out to be very lucrative.
Yeah.
Long period of time in there for the long game.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the interesting part of their job is, if I was an accountant for a company, it's the same thing every day.
Yeah.
But all my issues are the clients are all different. All their issues are different.
Yeah.
So when people say to me, I've got this to happen or that to happen, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
So like the ladies that bought franchises from me.
Yeah.
Therese and Louise are clients of mine, but Catherine and Chris Lodge are as well.
Yeah.
For their area. So that's an exciting new thing because it's brand new.
Yeah. The franchise didn't exist. They bought into something that didn't exist, and now they're creating another side business for themselves.
Correct.
Just on coming back to your career, when did you hit the point when, because you obviously, you don't do this for the money. When did you hit the point where you didn't have to work for money if you didn't want to?
Well, I've always wanted to work for money for different things I wanted to achieve.
But when we did you reach the point of financial independence where, look, I could leave tomorrow and I'll be fine?
I had that in 2002, when our divorce became finalised.
Yeah.
At that stage, I really escaped life by losing myself in my business. I just worked in
Okay.
my business all the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because when I was working in the business, I didn't have to think about how miserable I was that I wasn't married anymore.
Yeah,
And I achieved a great amount in that period of time.
yeah, right.
But then people started asking me if I remember a client saying, I'm the president of the Master Electroplaters Association.
Yeah,
Could you do a presentation to them? And I thought, why would I do a presentation to someone like that? I thought, yeah, I'll do that. And then two solicitors said, you're very articulate, you've got a good memory, why don't you do forensic accounting work for reports for court? I did that 51 times, including for the DPP on behalf of the Commissioner of Tax for a wayward tax agent,
yeah,
where I was asked my expert opinion on things.
yeah,
I then did a whole series of presentations for CPA Australia
yeah.
on complicated tax issues. National Institute of Accountants, I had to do a presentation on presentation of financial statements. There was 180 delegates.
Yeah.
They had 5 courses that they could go to, and nearly all of them chose to come to my presentation.
Lovely.
So they said, could you make it 3 hours instead of an hour and a half? And I said, yeah. And then they said, well, maybe you could make it 4.5 hours. So I did an hour and a half morning tea, hour and a half lunch,
Yeah.
hour and a half to afternoon tea. And I was deep in thought, and my youngest daughter was there, who's got my sense of humour. She said, you look concerned, Dad. And I said, in a couple of weeks' time, I've got to talk for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And she said, how will they shut you up?
Well, I heard, I can't remember where the quote came from, but I heard one quote where someone said, if you want me to talk for a day, I'll be ready next week. If you want me to cut that down to an hour, I'll need a month to prepare.
Yeah.
Because it's, I can just, you know your stuff, and that's the brilliant thing. And there's knowing your stuff, which takes time to know your stuff. And then there's knowing your stuff well enough that you can then either deliver a course, a lecture, but more importantly, just help other people. And that's for me, the joy in my world as well, is that, I want to have the conversations about where you're going and what you want to do, and try and help you get there, because helping someone else get to where they want to go, it means far more to me than getting an invoice paid so I get some money in my bank account. There was a time when obviously I needed that.
Yeah.
The question is when you can tell someone loves their job when they don't have to do it for money, but they do it anyway. But then there's the next level, which I hadn't anticipated, which is you can tell someone loves their job when they know that they're going to die, but they do it anyway, because it's what they just love doing, and that's the joy of you and what you do. I think it's so powerful, so amazing that you just you're just going to keep doing what you're doing and enjoy whatever time you've got left. I hope it's a long time. Theoretically, you could have another 10 or more years.
It's quality of life. As long as I'm going to be here, I would like to have a quality of life. I don't really want to have dementia and sitting in a chair or something for the last 5 years of my life, or be immobilised.
Yeah.
As long as I can get around and do the things that I want to do.
If you're immobilised and your brain was still working, would that be okay? You could still talk.
My mother had an amputation. We went to a nursing home in Chatswood, and the lady said, I'll show you around. The top floor here is people who are very agile in their minds. They do crosswords, they talk to each other. They're very interesting people, but their bodies are breaking down, letting them down. And the floor below is the people who've got dementia, Alzheimer's, etc. Many of the bodies have gone too, but largely the minds have gone.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, where would you like to end up? She said, I often thought about that.
Yeah.
No definitive answer. What would be best? Knowing your circumstances?
Yeah.
And knowing that you're getting to be miserable, or not really knowing about anything at all? I'd like my brain to keep going.
I'd like my brain to keep going. I'd really, and I've seen my godmother to the point where she didn't recognise me.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't appear to recognise me. Although it's amazing when just sitting with her and just trying to chat, just when someone's not really responsive, and then when it was time to go, it's like it's like, well, we need to head off and that shit, and almost like she went from being just sitting there almost dumbly saying nothing or whatever. And she, oh, thank you ever so much for coming. It's so nice to see you. You just go, there she is.
I had a great guy, Keith Pfeiffer. He died at 93, acting like a 50-year-old. He used to go to the gym, do all sorts of things. Incredible Christian. We evangelized for 3 years together.
Yeah.
1 day a week. And incredible guy. His wife, Leslie, got dementia. He moved, she went to a facility. He bought into a home close by so he could be with her most of the day and make sure she got meals and things.
Yeah.
And anyway, he said, do you want to come and see her? And I said, yeah, sure. And I remember the notebook where James Garner turns around to his children and says, you don't visit your mother. I said, Dad, she doesn't know who we are.
Yeah.
I said, but you know who she is.
Yeah, that's right.
So I went to see Leslie and she was muttering a few things with me and that. And Keith went off to get some cups of tea and she said to me, what's his name again? I said, Keith. And she said, he's such a nice man, I should have married someone like that. His unique thing was, I was born on the 1st of January 49, the day Sir Donald Bradman was knighted.
Yeah, right.
New Year honours.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, good things come in threes. I never found out what the third one was. And Keith said to me, Leslie and I got married on the 1st of January 49.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So I knew how long they'd been married for.
Yeah.
They married before she passed away, just over 70 years.
Wow.
And she didn't know who he was, but she made that comment. He's so nice, I should have married someone.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a lovely thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think we might wrap things up. It's been so lovely talking to you. We've gone on a few different paths in the stories to try to understand, how life has changed, and also what you do to help people, which I really, really enjoy. And that's part of what we're trying to do. Part of the mission of Joya Life is helping people make better decisions, to set goals for themselves, to do more stuff with their lives. One thing I've been feeling terribly guilty about as I sit here is, and I don't know why I feel guilty, but as soon as someone says that they're a Christian, I go, yeah, it's not for me. Religion is something I gave away many years ago.
Up to each person. In my office at one stage, my son and I were Anglicans.
Yeah.
Two brothers who are Macedonian High Church.
Yeah.
Two brothers very devout Hindus.
Yeah.
And one Muslim.
Yeah.
We all respected each other's faiths. They don't try to convert people.
Yeah.
And they had their system, their night of Diwali, and wanted to have a day off for the Festival of Light. That was it. They'd wish us Happy Christmas.
I love the Thai approach. Thailand is 97% Buddhist, but they'll decorate the whole place for Christmas and wish everyone a Merry Christmas at Christmas time because they have lots of tourists and visitors that are coming and saying, Merry Christmas. So
the advantage that you got in your work is you'll see patterns. I had a young man come to me sometime last year, and he said, I need to talk to you about a unique problem I've got. I said, oh, yeah. He was a contractor.
Yeah.
Because of payroll tax and things, they wanted him to become a company.
Yeah.
So he bought a shelf company and became a company. He invoiced about $200,000, good tradesman.
Yeah.
Took it all out and spent it, young bloke.
Yeah.
Right? The tax department said,
yeah, where's our 60,000 or whatever it is?
Right. So he came to me and he said, this is unique. And I thought, in my career, 500 times I've heard it.
That's right, yeah.
So I told him, I can only now charge you a lot of money for best endeavours to try to get you out of it.
Yeah.
Had you spent $500 up front, preventative maintenance, stitch in time saves 9, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, you would have been on the right track from day one with PAYG, your BASs, single touch payroll, all the things that you're required to do. I didn't know about them. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You set yourself up as a director of a company, you have to know all about all these laws. Taxation, corporation, everything
and GST, money
so
comes in the bank.
You'll see it in your business too.
Yeah.
Where someone will come to you and think that their situation is unique.
Yeah.
But the more you do it, the more you'll see.
It's like that's right. This is what I've seen before, and that's what my second book's about. Spending Fast and Slow is about the psychology of why money tends to come and go, and people don't realise there could be PAYG, salary lands, salary gets spent, salary lands, salary gets spent, and then all of a sudden something comes out of the blue, and they go, I've got no money. I say, well, yeah, of course you haven't got any money.
The example of that is I've said to people, did you ever do a degree? And they say, yes. Say part-time, okay. How did you squeeze it in? I do about 3 hours on nights, I do about 15 hours on weekends.
Yeah, yeah.
It nearly killed me for 2 years till I got it.
Yeah.
I said, what do you do with all that spare time now?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. So you invent the hours when you need to.
Yeah.
You invent the money when you need to. But you don't proactively think about it. It's a reactionary type thing.
Yeah.
If I have to make time, I'll make time.
Yeah.
If I have to set money aside, I'll set money aside.
That's right. It's funny because making time is something it's a physical impossibility. You can't make it. It's there. You have to squeeze things in to what might already be a busy schedule. The time was always going to be there, and the question is, was it just going to pass by and disappear?
I spoke to someone the other day who said, isn't it terrible that we waste a third of our life sleeping? Imagine if we didn't have to sleep, what we could do with our lives. And I said, a famous person once said, sleep, those little slices of death, how I detest them. Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, really, wow. But and yet sleep is such a great thing to kind of rest and recover and go, it's a whole new day. So if you had 3 wishes, what would they be right now?
My 3 wishes would be for Australia. First one would be to dam the northern rivers, 19 dams. You could bring the northern rivers down through New South Wales, southern Queensland and into Victoria, and also from the wet season in the Northern Territory to bring it down through Central Australia into South Australia. We could become the food bowl for Australia because we've lost our manufacturing. We've gone from 19% of GDP down to 5%. We've lost our industries all over the place, but everyone's got to eat. So if we had an attitude like that, we'd have all the irrigation we wanted, the rivers would flow better and therefore not get overrun with carp, etc. We'd have rivers full of water to fight bushfires.
Yeah.
The dam system would control floods so that we wouldn't lose all the things that we lose now. So that would be the first one. Second one for me would be I'd build an 8-lane each side tunnel from Penrith through to Lithgow under the Blue Mountains to open up all the western part of the state and put a very fast train through one tunnel and have all the unlimited traffic through the other. It would take about 33 kilometres off the trip over the mountains.
Yeah.
And it would save about, for big trucks, about at least an hour and a half in time.
Yeah, right, wow.
So therefore you'd open up the west. Sydney can't go further north.
Yeah.
We've already gone Central Coast, Newcastle. Can't go east, you fall in the ocean. Can't go south, we've done Macarthur.
Yeah.
We've done Southern Highlands. We're almost running into Canberra.
Yeah.
West is stopped by the Great Divide and the Blue Mountains. Let's go through it and
Yeah,
get the population.
the other side. Yeah, yeah, interesting.
And then the other thing is that I think that people have got to work out how to fix the dichotomy between the federal government wants more people for a bigger tax base. The states don't want it because they haven't got the infrastructure. They can't even look after the people that are already there.
Yeah.
The states say, let's increase the GST rate. We're the 6th lowest taxing country in the world. Increase it to 15%. We'll have all the money to do the things we need to do. Federal government says, but the ATO collects it, which we've got to pay for. And if we don't give tax cuts, which we can't afford, then we won't keep in government. So that dichotomy is not being addressed by any political party.
Yeah, interesting.
No one knows how to fix it. Yet everyone says, oh, we should have more people. Federal government says we should have 40 million people by 2035.
Yep.
Harry Trubegoff from Meriton Apartments says we should have 100 million people.
Yes.
Because we're 5% of the world's land mass.
Yep.
If there's 8 billion people, we should have 400 million people.
Yeah, right.
So let's say we should have at least 100 million people.
Yeah.
Right? There's no infrastructure.
Yeah, no.
Everything's wearing out. Convict bridges on the Great Western Highway.
Yeah.
Maybe take a year to fix. Sewage systems that were put in 150 years ago.
Yeah.
All those things. We can't take more population, but we should. So you've got to build the infrastructure first.
Yeah, fair enough.
How are you going to do that? Requires some thought.
Yeah.
We're in a country with very, very clever people who are never asked for their opinion.
Yeah, this is true. That's interesting. So if your 3 wishes would all be to do with getting the state fixed, what about if you had, if there was one thing that you could tell your grandchildren on their 18th birthdays to help them have a great life? What would be the one piece of advice you'd love to give them? Which you may not be able to.
Same thing as I made, exactly. Same thing I did on all of them. There was a Johnny Mathis song called "The Greatest Thing in All the World is to Love and Be Loved in Return." You have to have someone to love, and you have to feel loved by someone.
Yeah.
And as long as you've got that, the balance in your life will make you the balanced individual that you need to be.
Yeah.
Will enrich you in lots of ways that you can't measure.
Yeah.
And that love may be a friend. It doesn't have to be a partner.
Yep.
It may be a dog. It may be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you need to feel that you can put your love on someone and receive love back.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the same person.
Yeah.
If you do that, you'll have a balance in your life.
Beautiful. Lovely. Wow. What a fascinating conversation that was. Talking with Michael Watson, a chartered accountant for 60 years and still working despite the fact that his days may be numbered, and still desperately trying to help people and be thanked for helping people. And let's not forget to I must thank you for your time today. It's been amazing. You've had such a great time. Please like and subscribe. Tune into the next episode where we'll dive deep and figure out other ways that we can help you have a better life and see how other people have lived their lives, or figure out ways that you might better help yourself. And that's what Joya Life's all about. And I really hope that you get some value out of this and share it with your friends, because that was just such a great conversation. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Michael. That was brilliant.